Have you ever faced someone who just pushes all your buttons? Someone who seems to exist just to make your life harder? What if I told you there's a way to destroy your enemy without lifting a finger? No fighting, no revenge, just pure mental mastery. It sounds impossible, right? But the ancient Stoics, figures like Marcus Aurelius, figured out a long time ago that the greatest victory is often won not on a battlefield, but within ourselves. In this video, we'll discuss the timeless wisdom of Stoicism and uncover powerful techniques to defeat your enemies by mastering your own mind. Stay with us, because what you'll learn could change how you handle every conflict in your life. One of the most fundamental teachings in Stoicism is the idea of controlling your emotions. Think about it. When you let anger or hatred consume you, who is really in control? Your enemy wins because they've taken over the most valuable territory, your mind. The Stoics believed, and modern science is starting to prove, that our emotions are not these uncontrollable forces that just happen to us. We have far more agency than we realize. If we allow ourselves to get upset by someone, it's because on some level, we've chosen to react that way. To truly defeat your enemy, you must refuse to let their actions disturb your peace of mind. This doesn't mean you pretend the offense didn't happen. It means you choose a different response. Stay calm, composed, and rational no matter what they do. This is harder than it sounds, of course. But with practice, you can train yourself to observe your emotions without being swept away by them. You can choose reason over reactivity. By controlling your emotions, you take away the power your enemy thought they had over you. They can't hurt you if you refuse to be hurt, if you remain calm and indifferent to their attempts to provoke. This is how you neutralize their influence over your life. Imagine the most infuriating person you know. Now imagine them trying their hardest to get a rise out of you, but you just don't react. You meet their anger with calmness, their insults with reason. Who is more powerful in that situation? That's the power of controlling your emotions. It's not about suppressing them, but about mastering them. And that mastery is the key to defeating your enemies without fighting them. Stoicism teaches that the most worthy battle we'll ever fight is the battle for our own character. It's about becoming the best version of ourselves, no matter what obstacles we face, no matter who is trying to bring us down. If someone wrongs you, if they try to drag you into the mud, what do? The Stoic answer is that you refuse to stoop to their level. You focus on embodying the virtues that they clearly lack: justice, wisdom, courage, temperance. The Stoics believed that the only thing truly in our control is our own actions and decisions. Everything else, other people's opinions, their insults, their attempts to harm us, these are all ultimately external to our true selves. By maintaining high moral standards, you deliver a devastating blow to your enemy without even engaging them directly. You demonstrate through your actions that their attempts to diminish you are meaningless. They may try to harm or insult you, but if you continue to act with kindness, patience, and wisdom, you expose the emptiness of their attacks. Your success, your virtue, will speak louder than any petty conflict. This is how you win in the long run, not by stooping to their level, but by rising above it. Think about someone you admire, someone known for their character and integrity. Do petty insults or attempts to tear them down really stick? Of course not. Their virtue is a shield that deflects such attacks. That's the power of focusing on your own virtue. It's not about being perfect, but about striving to live in accordance with your highest values. And in doing so, you disarm your enemies and render their attacks meaningless. One of the most liberating teachings of Stoicism is that we have the power to choose how we perceive the world around us, even our enemies. What if, instead of seeing them as a source of frustration and anger, we saw them as an opportunity for growth? Your enemy is only your enemy because you perceive them that way. They are a mirror reflecting back your own judgments and assumptions. But what if you could change the reflection? Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher-emperor, often reminded himself that people act based on their own understanding, however flawed that understanding may be. If someone acts against you, it's usually because they don't know any better. They're operating from a place of ignorance, fear, or pain. This doesn't excuse their behavior, but it allows you to see it in a new light. Instead of viewing your enemy as a threat or a problem, try to see them as an opportunity to practice patience, wisdom, and self-control. See them as a test of your Stoic principles. By changing how you view your enemy, you disarm them of the negative emotions you've attached to them. They are no longer a threat, but a challenge, a chance to practice what you preach. Think about a time you were proven wrong about someone. Maybe you initially judged them harshly, only to later realize you'd misunderstood them completely. The same is possible with your enemies. By choosing to see them differently, you rob them of their power over you. You transform them from adversaries into teachers, and in doing so, you take another step towards inner peace. This is perhaps the most radical idea in Stoicism. We should strive to be indifferent to things outside of our control. This doesn't mean we become passive or uncaring, but rather that we recognize the futility of trying to control what we cannot. And this includes the actions of other people, even our enemies. If someone wrongs you, your first instinct might be to seek revenge, to fight back, to make them pay. But the Stoic understands that this is like pouring gasoline on a fire. It only escalates the conflict and drags you down to their level. Instead of wasting energy trying to get even, the Stoic accepts that their enemy's behavior is beyond their control. You cannot control what other people do, but you can control how you react. You can choose to not let their actions disturb your inner peace. This indifference doesn't mean you ignore injustice or let people walk all over you. It simply means that you don't allow their actions to control your emotions or dictate your response. You refuse to play their game. Your enemy may try to provoke you, to get a rise out of you, but by practicing indifference, you remain unaffected. Their insults roll off your back, their attempts to control you fall flat. You're no longer a pawn in their game because you've chosen to step off the board entirely. Think about the things that used to upset you, things that used to have the power to ruin your day. Now think about how much power those things have over you now. Chances are you've learned to let them go. The same principle applies to your enemies. By practicing indifference, you starve them of the attention they crave. You refuse to give them power over your emotional state, and in doing so you win a victory they can't even comprehend. Stoicism teaches us that everything is temporary. Emotions fade, conflicts lose their intensity, and even our enemies are not immune to the passage of time. Sometimes the best way to handle an enemy is to simply let time work its magic. This doesn't mean you sit idly by and hope for the best. It means you remain patient, you refuse to be drawn into their drama, and you focus on what you can control, your own actions and your own response. By refusing to react to your enemy, you take away their power. Their attempts to provoke you fall flat. Their insults lose their sting. Over time, their hostility may very well disappear on its own simply because you've refused to feed it. This doesn't mean you condone their behavior or forget the wrongs they've committed. It simply means that you choose to not let their actions control your life. You choose to move on, to focus on your own growth and well-being. Think about a time when you held on to anger or resentment towards someone. Did holding on to that anger hurt them, or did it hurt you? Chances are it only caused you more pain. Letting go of that anger, that desire for revenge, is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It means you're choosing to focus on your own well-being rather than letting someone else live rent-free in your head. By letting time pass, by focusing on your own growth, you defeat your enemy without ever needing to fight them. You demonstrate that their actions were ultimately meaningless, that they were unable to break your spirit. And that, in the end, is the greatest victory of all. The Stoic path isn't about becoming passive or letting people walk all over you. It's about accessing a deeper well of strength, a strength that comes from self-mastery, wisdom, and choosing your battles wisely. If you found these Stoic strategies helpful, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video with someone who could use some peace in their life. Let's spread these timeless principles and help each other navigate the inevitable conflicts that life throws our way. Thanks for watching.